All right. So great takeaways there, and a great job that Mount Vernon has done. Really, not only with the leaderships or lessons in leadership series, but also just within their entire content that they put out is really second to none. And I encourage you, because we have only skimmed the surface of what's available on the Mount Vernon website. All you really have to do is go to mountvernon.org and then click on that Washington's Library in the upper right hand corner, and there's a whole host of valuable materials available for you if you have an interest in learning more about Washington than what we've covered in class here. But we come to the end of our class, and this is kind of where I really miss not having you all together so we can really kind of discuss the legacy of Washington, because there's so much to unpack, right? We have this sort of larger than life figure who led this country through a revolution, led this country through the early development of its government, and did so in both instances by peacefully relinquishing the power that he had, first as a military general, second as civilian president. We had an individual who um, enslaved hundreds of human beings, and there's that whole side of him to unpack as well as a Southern slaveholder. And so that needs to be brought into the equation as well. And so it all sort of sums up at a funeral that took place for George Washington, a memorial service that took place for George Washington in Philadelphia. Richard Henry Lee famously said, "First in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen." That is an absolute true statement that can be made. So I think the one thing that I want you to take away from this class is that um, George Washington was a man, a human being with weaknesses, with um, things in his life that he didn't do right. And I think that's an important reminder to not put these founding fathers on a pedestal and sort of give them a godlike status. We need to know that there were struggles that they had as well, right? As any of us have. And we balance that with the amazing accomplishments that they had. So I hope you guys had a great time in these 5 weeks. I love talking about George Washington, and will always love talking about George Washington. So um, I do want to go ahead and plug, if you have the opportunity and hadn't done so already, sign up for a class that I'm teaching on Hamilton, the Broadway musical. This is a class that I put together during the quarantine of the height of the pandemic. So I guess it was maybe a year or two ago when I put this together. Um, and what we do in this course is, Hamilton has become sort of a cultural phenomenon that we have that has really infiltrated our country. And what we do in the class is that we take each individual song created by Lin-Manuel Miranda, we break down the context of it, right? The historical relevance. So if you've seen it and maybe didn't understand the context, that this will hopefully allow you to see it in a different light. So I encourage you to take a look at that coming up in the second session. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the class at all, go ahead and post them in the discussion board that I posted. Otherwise, thanks so much for spending your time with me, and I hope to cross paths and meet you sometime in the future. Take care. Be well.